Hello.
Hey, how are you, man?
Good, good. How are you?
Beautiful. Feeling good. How are you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a pretty good day so far.
Okay, cool. Look, if we have any negative energy, I've got Barack.
Nice. Okay, well, I first wanted to say I want to thank you so much for doing this. As a longtime fan of the show, I decided to rewatch it not that long ago, and I randomly decided to like kind of like do a an Instagram page for it, uploading the clips because sometimes you can't find certain things of certain shows or certain stuff. So I was like, I have the videos, let me put them on digital. And then I just started doing it for fun. And then I would tag some of you ladies in them. And then like the response from you ladies and from the fans has been so great. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, I always wondered as a viewer, like, what were the ladies going through exactly in these moments? And some of them, what are they up to now? So I was like, oh, it would be fun to reach out to them and see, like, tell their story and share what they've been doing since Pop Stars.
So cool that you've done this. It really is so cool. I think I told you this when you first started the page. I thought that it was Yvette that had done it because we had been speaking about it. In like 2019, I started going through old YouTube videos too, trying to find things to put clips up on my like social media pages, and I was like sending them to the girls and things like that. And so when you started the page, which was so cool, I told you I thought it was Yvette, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I remember that.
it's so cool. So it's really neat that you did this. It really is like memory lane. It's like 20 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yes. It's been a minute now.
It's 3 minutes.
Okay, so I first wanted to start off with before Pop Stars, like how did you get into music and dance? Was there an influence? I think I remember reading or seeing that you said that your dad was in a band, right?
Yes, yeah. So I come from a musical family. Yes, my father actually named me after his band Baby. So that's my real name. He had a band called Baby. And from the time I was little, I was like at his rehearsals and just, dancing and singing or playing the tambourine and just, being around music. My mother and father separated when I was little, but she always had friends that were musicians. So they were always coming to the house, or we would always go to shows. And it was just something that, is in my blood, I believe, and that made me feel alive.
Oh, okay, okay.
The dance part though, I took like funk and hip hop classes from the time I was little. So I was like always like dancing. That's my alarm telling me to call you. Off phone off. Yeah. But yeah, I took, dance classes and was really into that, like street dancing and like I said, hip hop and funk. So that was a part of something that I always had done too.
Oh, okay, okay. And then I know in Pop Stars, you mentioned your girl group, Roxy. Like, how did that come about?
Thanks for remembering that. That's very
Yes.
cool. So I was in several girl groups from like the time I was in my late teens to my early 20s, and sometimes there were duos, sometimes there were four of us in the five. But in this girl group, Roxy, there were five of us. There were five, and we were in a development group called Marvelous McIntyre. He like Marvelous Studios, like he was developing us, and so we were working with different singers and choreographers and vocal coaches and things like this. So it's already being developed in this way. And this group, we actually opened up for Destiny's Child and 112. We toured Europe, and it was just, it was really cool. So like, I've been part of the music industry for a while, but being in a girl group was not new to me.
Oh, okay, okay. So then, what made you guys wanna? Because I know it was it all of you girls that auditioned for Pop Stars, or was it just like a select few?
We weren't. Good memory again. Good. So at this point, the girls and I some of us had separated, and it changed like a few different times within the the girls that were singing with us. One had left to go do a social, like a basically like I want to say a Christian project. She wanted to go to that direction, and there were four of us that were left. And so when we heard about the auditions, we thought that we would just go to the audition just for you. Is what the group was called at this point. There's four of us left, and we thought, well, we're already four. They just need one more.
Oh, I see.
The lovers and whatever. Two of the girls, Marie and Michelle, who are identical twins, they weren't even able to make it to the actual audition part because they had to go back to work. I mean, there were like at least 1,000 girls at this Atlanta audition, and it took all day and like into the night. So they weren't even able to make it to the audition process. And the other girl in my group we were in the same group together, but it was long. It was a long day.
Okay, so yes, tell us about that exactly. First, how did you hear of the Pop Stars audition?
It had to have been, I want to say the twins, that's what we always call them, but Marie and Michelle, they are just so in the know of everything going on. They're identical twins that were in my group just for you. And they were in another group called Illusion prior to that, where they were with other identical twins. It's just even a little backstory on them. So, I mean, they always knew about what was going on. And of course we wanted to go to the audition and see, you know, who was going to be possibly passing us forward to get a sign. That's what we always wanted to do, was like to be signed and supported by a good management team and, you know, producers and things like that.
Okay. So the actual audition, you said it was a long day. Like, what do you remember of that actual first day?
That it was very long. So we were given different songs to choose from. I think there might have been 3 or 4 songs to choose from, and I chose a song by Christina Aguilera called Genie in the Bottle, which was like a big hit at the time. So we had, you know, the lines and we were, you know, the lyrics, and we were preparing to go there. And when your number was called, you went up with your group and you sang the song. And this was a hit, right? Like this was a huge hit. I knew the words and I got up there and I started performing, and then like just kind of drew a blank during like part of the hook or something, like stew. But I played it off in a silly way, and I think the judges appreciated that a lot, which was kind of funny. So I made it to the next day of the auditions within that group. I think there were 40. There was something like 40 that were chosen to go to the second day, but callbacks the second day.
Okay, and then as far as callbacks, because I don't believe they showed your callback clip, but how did that day go?
Yeah, it is out there. I actually found it on YouTube, and it does show my callback date, and then saying that they thought that my choreography was like amazing.
Oh, that's right. You're wearing the blue top.
The blue tube top, which was not a good choice for the dance that I was doing. I can remember at one point, like I'm like, okay, and just turn.
Yes, I remember now. That's right.
And I played it off, but yeah, I had stayed up the whole night before, working on the choreography and singing and just, you know, making it as perfect as I could. My voice was raspy from singing, but they loved it. They really did. And I felt really good after that performance. I did. It was nice.
Yes, I remember they did mention the dancing, that it was like, I think James said like it was spot on. I do remember that.
Yeah, thanks. You really do remember so much. It's great.
And then dancing, was that literally the next, so far is this like right day after?
So this is where it gets a little blurry. I can't remember if they did a 2-day audition process or 3 in Atlanta. I think it was 3, because after they had broken us up after we did the dancing part individually, they broke us up into groups of like, you know, 5 or 6, and they wanted us to sit together as a group and perform a song that we chose and do our own choreography with the song. And so we did. We were set up in different groups, and I think you can see this in one of the episodes too, where the guy that's like, you know, doing the voiceover, he's like, within the group, they set each other in groups, and within the group, a leader emerges. And then it'll kind of like me, and I say something like, okay, you know, because from being in another girl group or several, you know that unless you have one lead singer, which I never was a part of a group with one lead singer, everybody gets a part, everybody gets a turn. So I was kind of sitting there with the girls, and we were deciding who would sing what part, and I'm like, and then someone else's turn, and then someone else's turn. So one person wasn't trying to take over. And you can hear the guy narrating and going, you know, within every group, a leader emerges, but then it kind of focuses on me and saying that, which is so sweet. You know, I thought for them to take that clip and acknowledge that I was trying to, like, you know, blend it together.
Yeah. And then at this point, so you're in Atlanta doing the auditions. Did you feel, and obviously I know it's like days after, so there's not really time to actually bond with the girls, but did you feel like close to someone, or did you feel like, oh, I feel like this girl has talent, like she's probably going to keep going on?
So in the Atlanta auditions, there were, like I said, a lot, and a lot of it's kind of blurry, But I found out later that some of the girls, some had come not even from Atlanta, you know what I mean? From like all over the place just to Atlanta. After we were at the workshop, I found out what girls were from Atlanta, you know? So not during that, I mean, I did connect with the girls I was working with in my group, but I could not, like, at that point even tell you how we were divided into groups, like who was who, what. Yeah, I can't even remember.
And then, okay, so the workshop are like my favorite episodes because we get down to like the 26 girls, and then we get to see you guys learn this new song, learn this choreography, getting ready for the big performance at the Viper Room. So as far as the workshop, when you arrived, what was your thoughts, your process? Like, what did you feel like having gotten to the workshop?
So we, everybody was coming from different directions. I think there were like 6 major cities that they auditioned. I don't know however many thousands of girls for this. So some of us flew in at different times, but we landed in LAX, and you could tell kind of like from who was rocking their flair, like who was, part of the Stars group. And we kind of sat and talked, and it was like just, ethnically mixed, different. It was beautiful, so many beautiful girls. It was really, really cool. We got back to the hotel and went to a conference room where all of the judges sat down with us, and they told us how it was basically going to go for the next several days. And they paired us up with our roommates at that point. And we were like, who's who, kind of talking. And I was paired up with Cheza, who I love so much. She's the best roommate, best person, so cool. Not the best, but to me she was, So I was just like a dream to be able to have that connection with her during that time.
I know everyone was asking questions about that. You brought up Cheza. Are you guys still in contact?
We like loosely stay in communication through social media, and I do with a few of the other girls, but she is just a shining star. She is so amazing, has the most powerful voice, is a beautiful force. And honestly, I think that she was too big for the group, if that makes sense.
Yes, I totally get you.
It's like, she was just like so big, which was beautiful, but I think solo artist is like what she was supposed to do.
And then, okay, so day one at the workshop, what do you remember? Actually, how many days were you guys exactly at the workshop?
That's where it gets blurry. I think it was like 5, something like that. So the first day we were there, we didn't do anything. Like I said, we had the meeting, but they told us how it was going to go. The second day, which would have been the workshop, actually, we were there. They also explained that we were going to work on vocals. No, it was choreography. I think it was choreography first. With Travis Payne, where we got to, dance a little bit and move our bodies a little bit and see how we, worked by ourselves, but also with his choreography. I think this is correct. So I'm not 100%
yes,
sure.
I mean, as far as the editing, how the episodes were put out, they did show dancing first. And then eventually, I think it was singing. And then is when you guys were introduced the I Can song. And then I think there was another day where it was like harmonies.
Yeah, I think I am. That's how we remember it. It comes in my head every once in a while like that. Because it was like something we had to practice so much. But so yeah, I think it was the 3rd day that we worked with Roger Love, who's a vocal coach. And he, worked with us individually at the piano, trying to help us with our notes and how to, find the strength and use less vibrato, whatever it was for whatever specific girl that, he was needing us to do. And I have a tendency to, I'm just big. I just move a lot, you know what I mean? Like with my emotions. I can remember him, saying, as I was singing, like, don't move so much. Just don't do this. Cause I'm like, he's like, just try to be still, focus, and I would try, and then it would naturally come right back up, Danny. So yeah, but I still think I did a pretty good job. And David Foster was there as well, which is really cool. Yeah.
How was it working actually with David? And I mean, you mentioned right now Roger Love, and Travis Payne. Like, do you remember any interactions between them? Any feedbacks?
I do, actually. So David Foster played the piano as well, and we worked with him a little bit. And there was a note that he had given about, I think it was something along the lines about using too much vibrato, or doing too much. And I wasn't the girl that was doing too much vibrato, but sometimes within a group, it's like I want to go to the lower note naturally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was told to like stay in the middle note, so I was kind of going down. And he said it in such a nice, positive, way, where he was like, so I need you guys to really focus on your notes. And someone didn't do it. I'm not even going to say who it was because I can't even remember. He knew. I mean, I'm thinking he probably remembered, or at least I think he did. But that was a little bit of it. And so we're just trying to be like conscious of that, and within the song, 5-part harmony, it can be hard, but.
Okay, so let's see, workshop. So at this point though, you said like you had your roommate, you had Cheza, and this is, so let's say by like day 3, did you feel any connections with any of the girls?
Sure. I mean, just any girl that I got to actually talk with, I felt a connection with her. You could see, for me as an empath, like where she had come from, the things that had happened to her, but her heart was her goal. You could see the ones who were a little more guarded. Just personalities. So like everybody I connected with really did. And something that was really cool is that within that workshop, they allowed us to have one day where we actually didn't have to do shit. We went out on a tour bus, like the double decker.
Yes.
Yeah, and they took us around at LA and showed us some happening places and took us to a bar/club. They didn't let us drink, but I think they wanted to see how we interacted with one another too, in that environment. Which I have some stories about that too that I get to. We did have one day right before they actually started making the cuts.
Oh, okay. And then so when they did do the first cut, how was that experience, in the sense like you guys at this point you had worked with the girls, you guys had done all the singing, this dancing, and I'm pretty sure in a situation like this where you guys are together like almost 24 hours, like you get close really quick, and especially when they're sharing the same dreams, the same passion, the same drive. So how were the first cuts like for you, like your emotions, your feelings?
Yes. So for me, when I walked into the room, I kind of could feel that I had made it, but I wasn't 100% sure, because I kind of knew that it's a reality show. They want to kind of play into the drama of whatever the situation is. And I can remember sitting there, but looking at Jennifer's face, and she was smiling at me, and I could just tell, I could just tell that I had made it. But Roger Love was the one that said, he was like, I am very happy to tell you, say happy, then you're not, that you made it. And I was like, oh my gosh. But then as, the rest of the cuts started, happening, it was heartbreaking for a lot of the girls. They were so sad, and they wanted this so bad. You could see they put all the heart into it, and this was their dream, and maybe thought this was their only chance. There was one story I wanted to share with you specifically, is that we were told the cameras would be around us all the time, all the time, and just to act natural, just whatever it was. You didn't know when they were going to show up. It could be in your hotel, in your room, like trying to see what you're doing, or at breakfast, and just whatever it was. But my girlfriend, who I made good friends with while I was there, her name is CJ, or Kurtisha. She's from Atlanta. She goes by Madam CJ, and she's still, an artist. She still sings, but she was so heartbroken. It just floored her. I mean, she was overwhelmed, and it was just taking her on physically. She was so sad. And so I wanted to take her out of the workshop and outside, to get some air, and I did. And the cameramen followed us, of course, because they want to see what's going to happen. We sat down, and she was still just, a mess. And as a friend or a mother or someone that, wants to console, I looked into the camera and I said, guys, can you just give us a minute, just a minute? And they were like, yeah. And so they kind of packed up and went inside. I continued to console her and pet her and give her love, and, hopefully made her feel better. We did bond at that time. We still are friends. So that was, something that it was hard, watching these girls. Just feel like.
So then we get to, let's see, where are we at?
Exactly, baby. What are we at? We've been talking so much.
So, because we did talk a little bit about working with Roger and doing the harmonies. Because then right after that, you guys got that second cut where Garland, Chesa, Alexis, who else was
Great memory, man. Seriously.
is Isidel? And there's a fifth one. I can't remember the fifth. Oh, Nikki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because right after that is when they assigned you ladies into the 3 groups of 5, right?
Yes. So we, during the cuts too, I want to share this with you that there were, because the girls were so heartbroken and it was really like traumatic, I think, for a lot of girls, we had sat in a circle at one point and decided that through the next level of cuts, whatever happened, that we weren't going to, oh my God, you know, that kind of thing, and just go, you know, good job, it's going to be okay, and kind of let that go. I don't know who decided this actually, and that was going to be what we did. But so they went through these cuts, and when Chesa was cut, she just, you know, of course, came out crying and super sad, and I couldn't be still. I wasn't going to sit down again. I had to stand up, go over and give her a hug. And this, I think this is on camera too, where I say, I can't believe this has happened. You have the most beautiful voice and you're an amazing dancer. Like, this is actually shocking. And I really felt that way. I really, really did. You know, we would have our girl talk when we were in our room, you know, at night about how things were progressing or going. And we would just have real talk, you know, about what was actually happening. I mean, the whole thing was real, but it was like grueling. You always felt like you were on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I remember that set of cuts. I was like very shocked with the cuts that they had made.
Yeah. So for example, like Chesa, right?
Yeah.
You think this? Who else did you feel that you were shocked?
I mean, I also felt that Nikki had a very strong voice. That was shocking. And then as far as Garland and Alexis, I felt like they just showed them so much on camera, and there was something about their personalities and themselves that I thought they were gonna go further.
Yeah, they trick you, right?
Yes.
They kind of, and so I think they played into a lot of things that are kind of like, you know, maybe heartbreaking in a way too. People that come from, you know, stories that are like a little bit sad. And I could be wrong, but you know, I say reality TV too. But yeah. I think they were kind of going towards a certain look when I think about it, you know, also and talent as well, but like a certain kind of look maybe.
Yeah. So then when you were assigned to your group, it was, let me see, I'm trying to remember.
For the Viper Room?
Yes. So it was you were with Carrie, right?
It's Carrie Blonde.
Carrie was the one with the short hair.
It was, I'm so sorry to say, you have to remember. I know I had Peta, and I know I had Rosanna, and I think it was Christy. I can't remember her name exactly.
Christina Petty?
Christina, yes.
Okay.
Christina. And then a girl that was blonde.
Okay, then.
I'm so sorry, girls, to not remember your names.
I mean, no, it was a long time ago.
A long time ago, man. It was like a million lives. You know, split up into 5 groups of 5, and there were 3 groups, but I know for sure it was Rosanna and Peta, and then I want to say Christina, and then the other girl, she's blonde, I can't remember her name. Super sweet, talented too.
So when you were assigned though to that actual group, how did you guys plan to like work and do like the performance? Because they showed when you guys were rehearsing with Travis and Stacy, right? That was the other choreographer, right? Stacy.
There were another girl there, yes. I've forgotten about her. Thank you for telling me that. Yeah, I've totally forgotten about her. So I don't even remember if she was there during the whole process working with us. She might have just been there one day working with us. But so on the day that we went to the Viper Room, we were told to come, no makeup, no hair, because they wanted to put us into hair and makeup, and then with the wardrobe we brought, but also with wardrobe that they had, you know, that maybe we could pull from. And I had tons of stuff. I had blue vinyl pants on, and I had a couple different chain tops. One of them, they were like, that's a little too risque. I don't think that's what we're going for.
I do remember them saying that, yeah.
So it was like, but it's stuff I wear. I'm a little bit rock and roll, a little bit like, you know, funk, a little bit, you know, punk, pop, and a little bit tacky. That's just, you know, really kind of my style. It always has been. But on that day, to give you a little backstory, the makeup artist that was working with me, you know, I always make small talk, like, you know, how long have you been doing this, da, 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 whatever. And she's like, well, really, this is only the third time I've worked on anybody. And I was like, oh, great.
Oh, so you got somebody new.
Yeah, and that's okay because everybody has to start somewhere. And, you know, I'm sure she's amazing now and it's developed, but I would like actually snuck off after she did my stuff and I'm like touching up some things. And she had done. And I think you can see me at one point in the mirror, kind of like adjusting and, you know, trying to fix my outfit. And I was also dealing with some things that were kind of heavy at home. We were not allowed to communicate at all with people back home.
Oh, okay.
Anybody, they had shut the phones off in the room. There was, you know, some stuff going on at home. And I had shared with James Foster that I was having some really heavy issues at home and could I please call home for a minute? She let me use her phone, her cell phone, so that I could call home and check and make sure that everything was okay. And everything wasn't okay, but I still pushed through. And so I think it impaired my performance that day a little bit. I don't know if you could tell or not, but I felt that way. I felt kind of like inside of my head. I was going through the motions, but still heavy. There were some things happening.
I pulled up the picture. Could you see it?
Okay, you found it. So let's see. That is Rosanna, if we're facing to the left with the right of me, and that's Peta. And on the end on the left, is that Christy? What is her name?
With the green?
Yes.
Yes, Christina.
Christina, yes, Christina. And so I was wrong about it. The girl that was on the right, I was thinking it was someone else. She's amazing too. What was her name?
This was like Carrie. I think you were talking about Keithalyn.
I was. So she was one that was cut, and that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. We're in the bus riding back home for, you know, after the cuts were made. So that's what I was thinking. But these girls did a great job. And one thing that happened that day was when we got to the Viper Room, we all thought it was going to be this big, you know, amazing stage. It was Johnny Depp's club and huge. And the stage was small. It was so tiny. So we were like, okay, we're working with this. We had to modify our dance moves. And the music that they brought for us to sing to, which, you know, is instrumental, we had been singing to a track that had the lead vocal and the hook already layered there, one harmony. So it was already full, which a lot of artists do this when they go and they sing. It's not really lip singing, it's just making something fuller. We were used to hearing that. So we had to really quickly go, we need to just hear our voices. We weren't, performing groups with mics, in rehearsal. We were just kind of singing like this with our hands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we did the best we could, and we were told to actually come out of place and give that opportunity to shine, when it was your part to sing. And I kind of stayed behind the mic. You know what I mean?
I know. I was going to ask you about that because they showed all three groups, like as far as the song. So first of all, they didn't show each individual group, but yeah. I do remember that you were the only girl that still had like the microphone stand in front of her. I was like, oh, she didn't go to the front. Like,
and this is what I was trying to elaborate on, is that I was kind of in my head and I had practiced on the stage really quick, but I could not figure out how to get that mic out to go to the front, come back, and then pick up the choreography. So from kind of being in other groups and practicing, I just did, I'm gonna say it, the mother trucking best I could. To stay behind the mic and just kind of do right here so I could keep the dance moves and still kind of sing and be on point with that. And maybe it was a poor choice, but I might have been completely out of sync with the girls dancing when I got back to my place. That's really where my head was. I don't know if you could tell or not. Could you tell?
Well, like you mentioned, it did, like I spotted that when I was watching it way back then, and it did seem to like you 100% weren't there, because it seems like when you're performing, you're like giving it your all, and then that one did look a little more like you were a little bit reserved, a little bit more laid back.
That I had so much going on in my head, but as an actress or a performer, you're supposed to be able to get through that. So again, I did my best. I tried.
So then after that performance at the Viper Room, how long did the actual judges take to deliberate to pick the final 10 girls?
I think it was anywhere from like 45 minutes to maybe an hour. That's kind of what I remember, generally, something like that. And who knows what all they were saying back there for real, but I think it took about that long. Yeah.
Okay. And then during that time, What was your thought process? I mean, because
I,
that's a while to just sit there and wait and find out if you're gonna make it.
yeah, I mean, we were talking. Some of the girls were high on the performance that they had done so good, and some we were holding each other and kind of exchanging energy. But I still felt kind of inside of myself because of whatever I was dealing with there. But it was cool, and then we all sat down and held hands, as they came out, and they told us who the final 10 were going to be, and it was interesting. It really was. Something really beautiful that happened though is that Jennifer, who I think was a really big fan of mine from the beginning, she was really cool, like really, really sweet, cool. She came up to me. She might have done this with the other girls too, but she said, "Baby," she goes, "you are going to go so far. This is not going to be where you end. You are a star." She said, "Stay with it. This is not the end for you." And I knew that already, but to hear her say that and to engage with me that way, it just felt so good. Like,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful. And I can remember in the ride, in the bus, or whatever it was, a van, on the way back with the 5 girls, it was like, honestly, not just from her words, but the way I felt like I could exhale. And I said this with the girls. There was a cameraman and I remember saying, I feel like I can see. Like, I feel like a weight has been lifted and like I can breathe again. And I can remember Peter looking over at me with her big, beautiful eyes going like, like, what are you talking about? Like, she was like in shock that I had said that, but I really felt that way, like euphoric, like, and I could sleep, like I was sleep deprived the whole time, just trying to crack. Yeah, it was crazy. A beautiful look.
So then, as far as after that, they had their 10, but then 2 of the girls ended up dropping out from the initial 10. Were you by any chance asked to come back or do more auditions?
I wasn't asked. And there was something I wanted to tell you too. I started working with a local radio station called 95.5 The Beat. So even though I knew I hadn't made it, I was going to these functions that they were promoting where different fans, it was like huge, like different fans were watching this, and I would watch it with them, like, "Baby from Pop Stars," and all these people here. So I would watch the episodes not knowing how they were edited, but knowing that I had made it to a certain point and not knowing when they were going to reveal this. So I worked with them a lot and hosted different events, and really got like a lot of buzz going here in Atlanta. But when I found out from watching one of these episodes with a group of like 50, 100 people, it was, they were like so sad for me. Oh, it was so sad. But it was when I found out they were having the other auditions, I was like, "Why the fuck are they calling me?" Like, what's going on? But obviously they were looking for something different, or because I didn't shine at that moment, when I was on stage. Who knows? It could have been what I said in the van. Oh, I'm so happy this is over. Who knows? Who really knows? But I did watch the rest of the show, and I thought that their choice. What was the girl that named it? Millie. What was her name?
Miley?
Miley that made it into the group. I mean, I thought that they were a perfect blend. They looked beautiful together, and they sounded good too. I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just explained right now that you watched the show back, and then that you were hosting events. So then right after like all that, the hosting the events, watching the show back, like, what was your next move? Like, what did you want to do exactly in that moment, now that you had been on the show?
I wanted to do musically, like solo. I wanted to be a solo artist, which I had already started working on most of my life, different songs with different producers and partners that I'd had to create music. And I really wanted to focus on my solo career. I didn't want to be in a group anymore. And I can remember getting a call. This is a really beautiful moment too. After the whole show had wrapped, one of the producers called me. I cannot remember his name, but he called me and he said, "Baby, you did an amazing job. Like, I keep using this word star, but you're gonna go far. But I see you as an actress. Would you like to come out to LA? Like, I can get you involved in different projects. You really do well." And I said, "No." I said, "No, I really want to focus on music right now because that's where I felt my heart was, writing these stories and working in that direction. I wanted to do acting too, but not just focus on that, nor did I want to move to LA. But I reflected on that a lot. Like, I cannot believe I said no. I kind of said like maybe in the future, but what a something that someone's being really generous to take the time to say that. You know, I thought it was cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
So, okay, so you wanted to work on music. And then, I mean, since pop stars till now, it's been a few years, and I know that you've worked on multiple projects, whether if it was music or acting, and I know you've done some modeling as well. Any one or two or maybe even three projects that you really loved and enjoyed?
That's a hard one. That was one that I didn't have an answer to, because I've truly worked with so many people, and it's been such an amazing experience that I felt so blessed in so many ways to be able to do this and to continue to have somewhat of a career or careers in these areas, you know, doing this. I always create music with whatever partner I'm with, which makes me sound like I've dated so many people, but I always do. And one of the things I wanted to share with you too is that I was being managed at the time after Pop Stars, and I had meetings with pretty much all the major labels in New York and some independent labels, and I had a really good demo going, but it was filled with like pop music and rock music and dance music, and I don't think they know what to do with me exactly, you know, which direction to put me. I met with Monty Bittman, who was president of Universal. He saw me as a dance artist, so he sent me to a producer named Ford, where I recorded like 3 other songs. And they were like, you know, spun out in the dance scene for a while. And I did that. And Prince was a part of my life as well. I don't know if you know.
I do know about that.
So this is connected back to Eden's Crush. I was supposed to open up for them when they were in Atlanta, and had 10 dancers. They were amazing. I was supposed to open up for them and then introduce Eden's Crush. Now I was in Chanhassen at Paisley Park working on Prince's radio show and also spending time with him. And we were working on the radio show, and I wasn't able to make my flight that night to get back in time to perform or introduce Eden's Crush. And I called my manager. I said, what do I do? He goes, well, don't leave Prince. Like, finish the radio show, you know, and then there'll be other opportunities. So he made me feel good about it, and I felt bad about it, but you know, you can't do two at once. And so I worked on MPG audio with Prince, and then I would have loved to have seen the girls and performed and like got to see them again with that. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Oh, that would have been fun. Okay, so let's go back to the workshop a bit, or in general, just the whole audition process. Is there a particular moment for you that you just like love, or like you reminisce back to, and you're like, this moment, this time, this, whether it was conversation or you something that you learned?
Right, I learned a lot. I definitely did. There's so many moments there, Danny, there really are. But you know how I told you that the cameras were going to be there on us whenever, and just to kind of like, you know, act like you're being normal. And I can remember Chase and I were in, you know, our room talking about whatever it was. By the way, there was like someone that kept calling all the girls' rooms, that someone knew that we were there, and it was a problem because they were calling us way into the night, and we had to tell like James and like Jennifer, like, someone keeps calling us. They had to like somehow block the incoming calls. I was like, hi. So it was really, this is a random thing, but I'm just saying, like, this one is like, we're trying to sleep. Who's calling right now? Anyway, as I told you, the cameras were going to be on at all times, and you never knew when they were going to be there. So it was at the end of the night, and I think I'd washed my face, and, you know, I was putting on my night creams, and Chesa was doing her crunches because she always did like something crazy, like 500 crunches a night. And we're just talking, and there's a knock on the door, like, and we look through the peephole, and I'm like, it's we're like, just a minute, you know, we're like in our pajamas, and we're trying to put ourselves together. I have no makeup on. And then we're like, come on in. And then we just, you know, they're like, just act natural. We were. Not really though. We laid on the bed, and she's kind of like looking at me like this, and I'm looking at her. We're just like, yeah, this is so fun. This is so great. I'm so looking forward to tomorrow. It's gonna be, you know, trying to be all positive. When we had just previously been like, my back is killing me. I am so tired. What is going on? Like, are they gonna let us sleep? You know, whatever it was we were talking about. So that stands out in particular. But that was one of our reasons that we bonded, because we could speak from the heart and truthfully.
And then I noticed right here, I forgot to ask you, did you ever plan or even had like maybe thought of auditioning for the second season of the Pop Stars?
I didn't. I didn't think about it. I had already done it. I didn't want to do another reality show. And I can remember kind of flipping through the channels as they were, watching the rest of Pop Stars. And then the second one, a little bit going, not like there was anything wrong with it, but no, I didn't want to be part of that. Even like American Idol, I mean, it's such a big thing and so amazing. I believe Nikki, rest her soul in a beautiful light. I think she, was part of American Idol too. And I just never wanted to be part of another reality show. I didn't.
Yeah.
Besides, one of my agents at one point in time even asked me to be part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like one of the casting directors wanted me to be a part of that for another time. Like why, who I was with. But I guess I've already said it. I already said his name.
Yeah.
But a lot of people thought that we were in a relationship together, but it never was like a live-in, girlfriend or fiance, but they thought it would be a great story. And I just did not want to do that. I did, even when you're flipping the channels, watching the reality shows, you're like, what is wrong with people? You know what I mean? Like some of it's scripted, it's a little.
I know, sometimes I watch some of these shows and I sit there and I'm just like, how do these, like, I'm like, is this real life? Like they over dramatize over, like, for the smallest little thing.
No. And so it might be character a little bit that they have naturally. It could be liquor that they're pouring into them, or they, maybe just, putting different personality types together. I don't know, but it seems like it lowers your frequency in a way, you know what I mean? So maybe the talent shows that they put together are more high vibrating and more beautiful, but those other I just didn't want to do it again. It's just no.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do say that too after they've done like a reality show, that they've done it, they did it, and they rather not do another one again.
Yeah, and one's enough. But I feel so blessed and just, it's like an honor to be a part of that, to be chosen and to have that time with those people. It's really cool, really. It's in my memoir, Black and White Rainbows with Pots of Silver.
Yes, I did want to talk about that a little bit.
Awesome.
How is, like, what made you want to do like a memoir?
Because I feel like my kitty cat, is like in here wanting to be on my lap. D'Artagnan, come here. I feel like we all have our stories, right? There's so much that's happened to us, but I feel like I have died and been reborn so many times, and there's so much there that it was time to do it. And my girlfriend Inda, who was part of the group Just For You, she was like, baby, you really need to do this. Like it blows me away sometimes that you're not at another level. You haven't had the proper representation or whatever. She's like, I'm gonna help you produce this and I wanna help direct it. She goes, just start writing. So I did. And not so much like as a screenplay, but my memoir. And I'm at the last like 6 years of my life. And it's a lot to try to remember a whole life of, stuff that's happened. So there's a lot in there. I've been blessed, like I said, to meet so many cool people and have these relationships with them. And then just the stuff that, happens to us when we're children and not in control, and maybe staying with one partner too long, whatever it is, there's a lot there. And there's some funny stuff too. So I've enjoyed writing it. The pandemic happened too. So I was like, what am I going to do? Music, memoir.
Right. And as far as that, like any release dates or any estimated date?
So, like I said, I'm at the last 6 years of my life. Okay. I don't know how much longer to wrap it up. And then I need to get someone to help me with editing it properly, putting it out there. But I'll keep you posted for sure. I'll be tagging with you. I thank you for asking about that. I do.
Yes, I did want to bring that up because I do remember watching, I believe it was like a YouTube video that they also had interviewed you and you talked about it. And I was like, yeah, okay, yes. Like, let me ask her about that.
Yeah.
And then you are also currently working on an EP, correct?
Yes, I am. Yes. So the last, since the pandemic and everything else, I kind of shifted back into, not that music ever went away, but I shifted back into that more so than acting, because the acting industry it shut down. It really did. Yeah. So I started working on music. I wouldn't say full time, but that's where I was putting all of my energy. This is D'Artagnan. Hello. Do you hate people that do that? They're like, here's my kitty, here's my puppy.
Oh, I'm the same with my dogs.
I should have shut the doors. I'm in my sunroom, but he's like wanting love right now. But so I have continued to work on music, and I worked with a producer named Brandon Stiles. The music that we started doing was like, it was all over the board. We weren't trying to do necessarily an EP. We were doing like anything from anywhere from pop to rock to electronica, and trying to almost write songs for certain projects in hopes of that. So some of them will be on the EP, and then the other songs that are going to be on the EP are actually a few that I've revamped from like many moons ago that I'm working with other people on. So I'm excited about this. I don't have a release date yet because I'm still like trying to mix it and get it mastered. Again, I'll keep you in the loop.
Thank you. I know I was going through also your YouTube page too, and I was like checking out some of the songs, because it's funny, like I said, I mean, I enjoyed the show when it aired way back when, but I do remember I had you on MySpace when MySpace was a thing.
That's so cool.
And it's funny because, like, an example, there was a few of you ladies that I mean, I loved your guys' voice, I loved your presence, so like I kind of like kept and followed kind of like the journey, you know, like with Alexandra and Nikki, that they both went on to do American Idol, and then they released music. So I kept my eye on the girls that I were like, oh, like I wonder what they're doing. So I remember too on MySpace, like way back then, like your music and your stuff. So to me, as a fan of the show, when I would just see like you drop like a new track, I was like, oh, like I love this. Like Eating Fresh might have not worked out for her, but she's doing this. So that was always fun.
I'll try to. That's so cool that you did that. You really are a beautiful soul to do that. I mean, you give love and light to people that. It's beautiful. Thank you for doing this. So MySpace a million years ago.
Oh yes.
I lived in Vegas before I moved back to Atlanta. He almost knocked over my drums. Anyway, I was working on an album with my fiance at the time. His name is David Negrelli, and we were in a band called the 333s. And that album never got completed because he crossed over into the light, tragically. But that was back when MySpace was happening. So that's probably some of the music that you heard that I was creating. Yeah.
All right, let's see, what else do I have here? Your films, if you would have to recommend a film that you were a part of to a friend, or for like, oh, check this one out, which one would you recommend?
My goodness, there's been so many. I've worked on a lot of independent projects too. So like, you don't always know how they're going to turn out until you see them and you're like, oh, this is how it is. And then some you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. So I've been a part of several different series, but one that is kind of like a fun one that you might want to check out, people out there, just not for laughs, but it's kind of campy. Do you know anything about the Asylum? Have you heard about this company?
Yeah.
So they put out different films like Sharknado, stuff like that. So what they do is they take like a big blockbuster, a Hollywood blockbuster, and they kind of make something that's similar to it. Not with Sharknado, but like, for example, this movie I'm going to tell you about, Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies, where they had like Abraham Lincoln, the vampire slayer or whatever, you know, the big Hollywood blockbuster. The Asylum does these films that are like more like B films. And this was many moons ago. Like, this is just, it's a cult classic. So if you guys like rent it or watch it. I played Mary Owens, which is Abraham Lincoln's like love interest, and the way that they spun it, it's just kind of cool. I mean, everybody brought their A game, even though it was a B film. And it's something that I think I am proud of it. I am, because it was like almost like right when I was starting out, like in 2010, stepping back into acting. So that. And then I had a small role in Pitch Perfect 3, which was cut down a lot, you know, smaller than I thought it was going to be. And that was an amazing experience. But honestly, you just have to look up IMDb, Baby Norman. There's a long list of crap there.
As far as Pitch Perfect, can you share a little bit about that, your experience on that film?
Did you watch it?
I didn't see the third one. I think I only saw the first one. But I do remember also seeing, because I also did check the IMDb, so I was like, oh, I need to add that to my list of stuff to watch.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Trish C, which was the director, female director, So I originally auditioned for a different role within that film where I was supposed to be this like French woman, and I had a scene with they call her Fat Nikki. I mean Fat Amy, but that's not a real name. It's escaping right now. She's an amazing actress. She's so funny, so funny. But they ended up cutting that role out. But the director liked me so much they wanted to pull me back in for something. So I auditioned for this role called Pimplo's mom, and I'm this like ghetto fabulous lady that thinks she's like still in her 20s with like boobs up to here in the hat, and I'm walking in with my son, and kind of think we're boyfriend and girlfriend. You're not sure at that moment until like the reveal at the very end, where it kind of like, you know, he's like, "Mom," you know what I mean? And we improvised a lot, and there were, you know, several scenes that we worked within this, but it was condensed, very short, and you can see it right in the beginning. That character.
Yeah, check it out.
It was fun. So much fun.
Any other stuff that you would like to share, whether if it's music, movies from your time in Pop Stars?
Yeah, so I do have another film that's coming out, and it will be on Amazon. I don't have a set date for that yet, but it's called Mr. Lockjaw. And this is gonna be something that's really cool. It's like a suspense thriller. It's really cool.
Oh, those are my favorite.
Yeah, you're gonna dig it. It was kind of twisted in a way, but it's really cool. I would say PG-13, you know, it's not like R. But I just finished ADR, and that's the final stages of, they've pretty much got everything edited. It looks great. So that'll be coming out. And like I told you, my memoir, Black and White Rainbows with Pots of Silver, we'll look out for that. But I've also been recording with other artists. I just keep it going. Like my very good friend of 20 years, Rooney G. We just dropped a song last month called After the Sunrise. Yeah, and there's like 6 mixes of it. You can see that on all platforms. The video's on YouTube, and it's out there, and I'm proud of that too. It's a dance song, you know, breakbeats dance, you know, it's a cool,
yeah.
I think it is.
Oh, I enjoyed it, yeah. And then the video too, you guys look good. Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, it was fun. We shot a lot at Stone Mountain, which is a place that I hike and I write my memoir. I like record myself on there. It was really fun. And I've been blessed to work on other artists that are local to Atlanta, but their projects like singing backup and, you know, being featured on their projects, like Zoe Blanco, who does like trap rock music, which is something, you know, outside of kind of a normal box that I'm in. A friend of mine, Cleveland Willis, who does like Southern rock, and a band called Radio Ruse, where I sing up backup for them. It's like a rock song. So I get pulled into projects all the time, and I just keep working because I don't have like one style that I do. I just want to keep working and creating.
No, I mean, that's good. That, like you said, you don't want to just put yourself in one lane. Having multiple lanes is always great.
I don't. I've never understood that box that people like to put others into, you know, to try to like, who is this person? What are they? Why can't you be several different things and just have whatever people gravitate towards, that like it or don't like it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love working on films that have to do with comedy too. I love the drama, suspense, but comedy, like improvising. Love those.
I know that you said you have stayed in contact with some of the ladies from the show. Did you ever have any like mini reunions with anyone, or any projects that you guys worked on?
So no projects that I've worked on with these girls. And for a short period of time, I did stay in touch with some of the girls, and then we kind of like, you know, did our own thing and ventured out. But as I told you a few years ago, I started going through the YouTube videos again and trying to find them. And then I was like, let me reach out to some of these girls and see how they're doing. So I've been in, you know, live communication with Yvette and Rosanna and Cheza and CJ, or Katisha. She actually lives in Atlanta. So, you know, I haven't seen her in a while, but we communicate through social media and, you know, kind of stay connected. We always say we're going to do something together. You know, it's one of those things. But yeah, those are some of the girls.
Oh, nice. Let's see. We covered everything on this page now.
Awesome. This is rose quartz, by the way.
I know. I wanted to say that too. Since the moment like I added you, because like I said, I had you on MySpace way back then. But in Instagram, like right now, I just want to say you have such a positive vibe, like, and there's just something about you that it's like this, like great energy. Like it's like and in the beginning, it was just like normal little conversations that we had. But even I see like when you post your stories or your posts, like it's literally just it exudes like positive and like good vibes. Like even like right now too, I'm believe it or not, well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm like a really, really shy person. Like I don't really like, I've always hated going up on stage and like doing anything for school like that. Like, but like literally just talking to you is it's like so like I feel like I've known you and like I could like be okay.
I felt the same way with you when we were exchanging communication. You know, I leave the voice memos. Yeah. They're just more personal. I don't want to read a text. I'm like, hi, Danny. You know, like it just, thank you for saying that. And that makes me feel good. That's the way that I want to be. That's the way that I feel. Not that I'm not human and I don't have sad thoughts or get frustrated or low, but that's the way I want to share. I want to share my modeling, my acting, my music, you know, but also my family or events or nature and no makeup, you know, or whatever it is. It's all over the board. So I don't know, again, like if there's a brand, I don't know if I have a brand except for all over the place. You know, yeah. Thanks for saying that, man. It was really sweet.
Oh yeah, since like I said, since the moment we started talking, I was just like, oh my gosh, she's just such a positive person. And I was just like, oh, like I like that. Because also too, you just never know how people are gonna take you, or sometimes sure. I mean, I haven't experienced that, but maybe some of these girls want like nothing to do with the show, or they don't want to see, you know what I mean. But like you've been so great, and so like I'm just like, oh, like I need to tell her that.
Thank you so much. No, let's kiss to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Girls, if you reach out to them, more will want to share than don't. Just this is just the vibe that I get, and just kind of like from looking at some of the girls' social media pages and whatever. You know, I think more of them will want to. And even Garland had said, "What about let's get together on a Zoom, conversation." That's a great idea. After you
like I was that was my cool. My initial thought at first. I was like, I would want to get the girls together, like the workshop girls, for like a big Zoom. But then I was like, the time zones, the days, I was like, each girl has their own life, their schedules. I was like, oh, that's gonna be really hard.
Our internet's catching just a little bit. It could be mine, but you know what? I believe in you. I think you can do this, not only from starting the page, but from the way that you share. This might be, I don't know what you do in everyday real life, but interviewing people and lifting people up in the limelight, I think this might be one of your gifts. So
Garland said the same thing too.
True. It's true. Yeah. I'm telling you, energy is contagious. And when it's this positive and this like giving and so much love, it is. But some girls, like even before we spoke, I was like, okay, I'm going to ramble on and on and on. He's going to have to be like, hang on, baby. So, giving the questions ahead of time and giving girls maybe a little time with it, just depending on where they are in their lives. I bet more people will want to talk than don't.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had no bad experiences like at all. Like it's all been great. So, yeah. I mean, I'm excited. Like I said, just as a fan of the show and being able to like interact, whether if it's just simple, like, oh my God, like I remember that, or like, thanks for posting this. To me, that is just like a highlight. So, but even especially having the chance to sit down and talk with you ladies about the show, about the experience, about everything you guys have done afterwards has been the cherry on top for me. Because Pop Stars was one of my favorite things to like watch Were you like in front of the TV? I know you were 13, so how are you doing? Like friends, or like what were you doing? Tell me. Yeah, so I've always loved music. Music has always been something that I've always enjoyed. My first job was working like at a record store. And I've always liked competitions, as far as whether if it's a racing competition or any sort of competition that it is. So when I saw that they were going to do this reality show that involved music, that was going to be to build a girl group, and I love girl groups too. Girl groups are everything to me. I was like, I need to watch this. I was like, this is everything put together that I like. And once the show started, I got hooked. And like I said, I just watching each girl, their talent, one is amazing. And then I wanted to keep watching. And then even when the series ended, like I said, I was like, oh, I wonder what some of these girls are doing. And then that's when I would go online, go on. I found some of them on MySpace. I think a few years later, Twitter was a thing. So then I added them on Twitter. So I
And
mean, I just enjoy it sitting there watching. And then like when my favorites would get cut, I was like, oh no.
you're a beautiful, giving, loving fan, and you're into music too, obviously, not just with that. That's awesome. I see the pop stars behind you. Like, what is that like? Is it like a flyer? Is that like the album? What's going
Yeah,
on?
so that's a promotional poster that I got off of eBay. I figured, and I had it too. I've had it for a while. Because too, like when I mean, back then I was young, so I would buy whatever I could. But like as a fan, like I've gone on eBay sometimes searching for certain girls and finding, like I think the other day I saw on eBay like Yvette's headshots, like acting headshots, resumes. So
Cool.
so I've seen different things like that, and I was like, oh, let me put this up for these interviews.
Perfect. It really is perfect. And I can imagine what all of those records behind you. I don't know if they're CDs or not.
Yes. All my music. Oh, I even have the ladies.
Woo! I love that. It's so dope. Eden's Crush.
Their album. And
I remember seeing these
Thank
albums and they look so good. They look so good. That's so
and then actually too, did you did you get a chance to listen to the album like way back then when it came out?
have it somewhere. Like I was trying to find it not last night, but 2 nights before, just to kind of like go over it and listen to it. I could find it like honestly, like on, iTunes or whatever, I'm sure, but they were good. They were really good, really, really good.
Because I forgot, and I was gonna say, like, if you had made the group and you guys had recorded the exact same tracks, would you have been happy with that music, with that style, with that direction that they gave them?
I think that's what they were going for. I mean, that we heard several songs that were going to be part of that album. I don't think any of the girls got to write. I think that it was all, pre-written and reduced, like with the demo quality of what they were going to be recording. But I remember liking the music and hearing it like in the big sound system, even in the warehouse when we were doing the going through the workshop, and I liked it. I did. Is your good? Mine's breaking up just a little bit.
It did say something right now, I noticed.
We need a good signal. Okay. Yeah, I like the music a lot. I did. I was going down memory lane.
All right. Any final words? Anything?
Honestly, thank you is what I want to say. Thank you so much for doing this with me and for inviting me to do this. And I'm going to follow everything you do. I mean, the page looks great. It looks absolutely great.
Thank you. It takes time and work too.
I know that social media is a whole other thing, but you're taking clips, you know what I mean? Like it's like documentary stuff that you're doing. So stay with this though, man. Stay with it for sure. And yeah, just again, thank you. And thank you to anybody that has watched this to this point. Y'all know what that means. If you know me well, it means love, beauty, magic, light, 333. And I hope to see you in the future somewhere around this globe, world, sphere, around whatever we call it.
Do you want to plug in your social medias for people so people could follow you and find out eventually when the memoir and the EP and any other projects that you're going to have?
Thank you again. So it's Baby Norman all across the board. Instagram, it's baby_Norman. That was before I knew I could have like a cool handle, which whatever. That's my name. People are going to know that. Facebook is Baby Norman. Twitter is Baby Norman 333. I'm trying to think if there's any other places that I have it, but basically YouTube too, Baby Norman. You can find me. And I do share, this. So I usually share what's going on and what's coming up. So yeah, anybody that wants to follow me or give me light, that's beautiful. And I usually give it back.
Well, again, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to do this and to share your story, share your pop star's journey. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure the fans are going to love seeing this.
Annie, thank you so much. Seriously. Thank you. Call me anytime.
Alrighty. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.